Hi everyone, and welcome to today's postgraduate information session on the studying MSc Human Resource Management here at GCU. So thank you for taking the time to join us. My name's Katie. I'll be your host and helping with any questions that you may have today. Just a bit of housekeeping. So all microphones and cameras are disabled during the session just to ensure this runs smoothly for everyone. But if you do have any questions at any point, please pop those in the chat and we'll be answering as many as we can during and at the end in the Q&A. So we're joined by our programme leader, Amy Close, who's going to take us through the presentation, and I'll now hand over to Amy for this part of the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Lovely to see everyone. Welcome to today's session. I'm just going to go through a good few pointers, aspects of the course and the programme that hopefully make you feel quite inspired by the programme. And if you have any questions at all, like Katie said, I'm more than happy to address them. So my name's Amy. I am the programme leader for the Masters in Human Resource Management. I have worked at Caledonian University for a number of years now, and I'm actually a proud alumni of Glasgow Caledonian University as well. I did this Masters in Human Resource Management in 2016, so quite a wee while ago now, but my journey came back to academia, and I am very proud to be the programme leader of this particular programme. So I know this experience as well, and I also know the experience of being a student because I'm studying my PhD part-time. So I can totally relate to the good times and the sometimes challenging times of studying in academia. But let's go through our programme then. So my contact details are there if you want to take a note of my email address. We also have our part-time Masters in Human Resource Management. So if that was an option that anyone was considering, then you can let me know and I can get you in touch with our appropriate programme leader for that particular course. But if you want to take down my email, then that's absolutely fine. You can keep in touch with me in that way, and I can respond to any other questions you might have. So just to give you a wee bit of background then, our particular department for people and organisations has a kind of wide range of programmes that we run. So our kind of pride and joy is our Masters in Human Resource Management, but we also run our Global MBA. And we also are, we service modules and we run modules and programs on our business, our international business and our international business and HRM program at undergrad as well. So many of us in the department have either very solid academic knowledge and industry backgrounds, and most of us have come from a relevant industry kind of context as well. So we really like to bring our kind of industry knowledge and experience into the classroom as well as the applied academic side of things. We're very, very focused on employability within our programme because it's really important to become a well-rounded HR professional. So a lot of that is embedded in things like we do here. As you can see, our teaching approaches range from being quite reflective to being quite analytical to working in teams to working by yourself and understanding kind of problem solving, leadership skills, and also your consultancy project at the end of the course as well, which is really quite important. As I said, a number of our skills are very much based in employability. So we have a kind of employability portfolio as you go through your master's degree with us. One of the kind of core skills that we are embedding into our students now is our data analytics skills. And that's actually one of the modules that I am the module leader for. It's called Strategic Organisational Performance Analytics. It might sound a wee bit scary, but it's absolutely not. It's all to do with how does data work in an organisation in terms of people. Why is people data very important? And as HR professionals, that kind of genre of skill and competence is becoming increasingly popular and important in industry. And we actually did some research with our industry advisory group that we have on hand. So that's a group that work currently in industry and tell us exactly what they're looking for from our HR graduates. So from those conversations and development, we found that data analytics was really important. We also instill and embed transferable and people skills. They're very important, especially working in HR or becoming a people leader. because leadership, transparency, being inspirational, all of these things are very quite important in our field of HR. So that's just some of our background there. One of the most kind of important aspects of this particular programme is that we are accredited to the CIPD. Now, the CIPD are the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development, and this particular accreditation is recognised globally, which is an added asset to our programme. Once you graduate with your Masters in Human Resource Management, you will also be given your CIPD accreditation, which equates to a level 7 of the CIPD. And if you've been looking at jobs, you will see that most or the majority of HR jobs ask for a level 7 CIPD accreditation. So it's really important that you have that along with your master's degree. Now, I'll go into the CIPD in a moment or two, but we also have ties with our Australian HR institutes and our Society for Human Resource Management. So that's the American version. So combining all of these kind of professional accreditations is another tick to your employability to say that you can work globally. Well, some of our graduates have worked all over the world, which I'll talk about towards the end. And there's many kind of added value or benefit from being a member of each of these kind of professional accreditations. So in terms of your CIPD membership, it's very important that you register as a student member when you're going through your master's degree. And this will give you lots of added benefits of using the CIPD for their resources, for the kind of study community that they have, and also using the CIPD map. If you've ever seen it before, it's kind of like a round map of all the kind of core competencies that HR professionals work with during their time and career in HR. You will also be able to upgrade your membership to chartered membership if that's something that you're interested in, and that comes with a wealth of experience as well. So having your level 7 CIPD as well as your Masters in Human Resource Management, again, is a really, really great thing for your employability, along with all the other things that the CIPD can offer while you're being a student. So, for example, I am on the committee for the West of Scotland CIPD branch, and within that we have a special interest group that's all to do with students and early career members. So you as students or potential students can come along to all of our events, you can network with people. It might actually be the person you talk to could unlock the career or starting of a career for you, and we work very closely with our CIPD. So that's something that we're very proud of on our programme. As I said, you can also have your academic alignment with the Society for HRM, which is our kind of American version of the CIPD. This comes with a little bit of, I suppose, added extra work to do in terms of getting your accreditation, but it's very, very important that you consider it. However, the CIPD is the main focus, and that is recognised globally. But if you are interested in also getting your accreditation for the SHRM, then we can definitely work towards that with you as well on this programme. So here you will see a typical kind of programme structure, and this will be for our September start programme. But bear in mind, we open up this programme in trimester A, which is September, trimester B, which is from January, and now trimester C, which is from May. So I'll talk through a typical September start running of the programme, and then I'll talk through the kind of May intake of the programme as well. So in each of the trimesters, when you start, no matter where you start, whether it's in trimester A, B, or C, you will be doing 4 modules at the one time. Now, we are very considerate with our timetabling, and we really try to make a timetable that works quite flexibly for students, bearing in mind this is a full-time programme, but we really do try to make this work in terms of not having too many things on the one day, for example, and not having too many gaps between each of your modules. You'll see here the ones highlighted in yellow are quite core to the Masters in Human Resource Management, and I'll talk about them in a second. But some examples of things that you'll do on the programme, the first module that you see here in trimester A, which is developing professional identity for the people profession. This is a very reflective module that's all about how to become the ideal HR or people leader. It's very much focused on yourself, and it's a lovely way to start your journey on your master's programme, because you can bring all the wealth of experience that you've had in your life, whether it's you've worked in retail or hospitality, it doesn't matter where you've worked. We've even had people that have done history and then came to do HR. We've even had someone that's actually studied some quite obscure subjects and then come on to do HR. So having that module to start with is quite important. Other modules that you'll do, for example, leading responsible change, is when you'll actually get to sit down with a case study and look at a change from start to finish in an organisation and understand, well, what was the impact? How did this form? What would we have done differently? And really getting to kind of critically analyse it. For this module here in trimester B, which is strategic organisational performance analytics, the one that I lead on, we actually get to present our findings of our calculations around data to a fictional board of management. And this is something that I work very closely with the cohort on. Each week we build on the kind of findings, and we have a big kind of database that we use. And it's very, very practical. And I think that's what the industry advisory group were really quite happy around in terms of that module. For human resource development, you will actually get to running your own training workshop, which is really important, especially for those that are interested in learning and development. And this is quite a applied module in that regard as well. One of your final modules that you will do, no matter again when you start in your journey with us at Cali, will be this final module that everyone will do, depending on when this might start from your trimester that you join us, is this last one here, which is developing leadership for the common good. This module is run by the whole business school, and it's something that, again, is very much applied in employability. We actually encourage the students to use their portfolio that they submit at the end of this particular module in interviews, in applications, because it's so tied in with yourself. It's tied in with your CV, perhaps even your LinkedIn profile, and how you act as a leader and what you have as a leader, and maybe what you need to improve on as a leader. So really, probably one of my favourite modules in terms of coming towards the end of your master's journey. And of course, you have your master's research project, which is a dissertation. And this is a project that you have the ability to choose what subject matter you would like to focus on, of course, in the world of HR. But we have all of our members of staff, which are very dedicated and specialise in many subjects that you might be interested in. Now, the ones that were highlighted in yellow there are very much specific to our HRM programme. So, for example, we did a lot of kind of industry research to say, well, what is it that that the industry are looking for in terms of experience and understanding? And the two main aspects were employee relations experience and implied employment law experience. These aspects are particularly attractive for our international students, as well as our home students, but because the work experience or the experience that most companies and organisations are looking for are UK based, we thought it's best that we have these two modules that are very much dedicated to that experience within a UK setting. Now, we do venture out and we talk about other international contexts as well, because that's very important to understand. But these two modules are quite specific and tailored to our Masters in Human Resource Management, and they're run by experts in our field as well, which is a great thing, and they're great modules to be a part of. So other skills that you will gain, of course, you'll gain the basics in terms of coming on board to do a master's, communication and writing. You'll find that as you progress in your master's degree, your writing style and your essay writing will change, and it will develop, and it will actually become something you're like, oh wow, I did that. The level will be much higher from when you started, which is a great thing. teamwork and collaboration and problem solving, and also a bit of creativity in there. Our cohorts are usually very close with each other, which is lovely to see, and you will definitely make friends on your cohort, which is a great experience overall. For example, even when I did my masters, I'm still friends with the people that I did my masters with all that time ago, and it's lovely to see that progression. And I think that's something that's actually quite important for coming on board to Caledonian, and specifically this master's degree as well. We also do skills events that are part of some of the modules that we talk about. So I talked about when you do a training workshop, which is really quite exciting because you get to actually be the trainer and you train either members of staff or maybe your other fellow students as well. And you also get to be involved in terms of interview experience when you get to be the interviewer instead of the interviewee. Because as HR professionals or people managers or people leaders, you will be expected to be on interview panels. So it's quite funny to see the other side of it. And like I said, we talk about analytics and we do online assessments and in-person assessments. Most of our assessments will be based on applied theory in terms of academic essays and reports and presentations. We don't have as many exams. An exam would just be a multiple choice questionnaire if it was to be an exam. So that really is all the kind of main skills that you would develop as you progress through your masters. So your employability journey then, what does that look like? So when you start with us on your HRM program, you will join the CIPD, become a student member. You will do the professional identity module, which is all about yourself and understanding yourself as a HR professional. In all of your modules, you will have case studies, you will have applied practice, you will understand UK labour law, you will understand applied employment law, you will understand HRD, resourcing and talent management, all of these different aspects. And then lastly, your master's research project will be very, very much tied into kind of a consultancy piece of work as well. So after you graduate with us, you will automatically be given your associate membership of the CIPD, and you can maybe upgrade to this if you did have relevant work experience as well to become a chartered member of the CIPD. But you will leave with your master's in HR, but you will also leave with your level 7 associate membership to the CIPD as well. So as I've said, employability is at the forefront of everything. And just something else to mention before I move on to what happens after graduation. On our master's program in HR, we actually have a dedicated project placement opportunity for students as well. So what that means is students can come on board, do a project placement that ties in very closely with their master's research project, and they have an organisation that they can utilise for data collection. They have an organisation that they can use for findings and providing recommendations to. It's a completely optional and voluntary experience if you wanted to be part of that. But it's something that myself as a programme leader will take you through from start to finish. So again, that in itself, to say you've done a project placement, is another thing that will stand out on your CV as you go to apply for jobs. And our own GCU graduates, we keep in touch with loads of our graduates, and we actually have them back to do guest speaking, and we have them back to do some master classes with our students, and they have done absolutely amazing. Initial employment might start with our kind of administration aspect, and even myself, when I graduated, I went into a HR assistant and HR administrator role, and from then progressed on. And that is what we've seen with many of our graduates after graduation. And we have graduates from all over the world that we keep in touch with. And it's amazing to see. We love to see everyone's journey, and employability, as I said, is the main focus. So after graduation, we like to keep in touch with our graduates to see what they're up to. And you can see there's so many different roles that they've gone into, so many countries all over the world that they work in, or they travel around and do all of these amazing things. So with that in mind, I think that's something that you can certainly take away to see, what you can achieve when you come on board with us. So really, I would love to see you on board at our Masters in Human Resource Management. As you know, we have an intake in May, but we also have an intake in September and for January 27 as well. So the website link is there. I'm sure you've most likely been on it if you've joined our webinar today. And if you have any questions for myself, you can let me know and you can pop anything in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy, for your presentation. It was great to hear more about the course and all the detail that you provided. And thanks to those who've joined us today. Now I can see there are a few members here. We're now open for any questions you have. As Amy said, whether that's about the course or studying at GCU, we'd be happy to help. But of course, the support doesn't end here. If you think of anything afterwards that you would like to ask, then please do get in touch. You can reach us on our website. We have our live chat there, or also you can email us studentinquiries@gcu.ac.uk, and we would be more than happy to help. So if you think of anything, don't be stuck. We're available to chat.
Absolutely.
It was really good, Amy, to hear more about the connections you still have with alumni and how that can help our current students. I think that's always reassuring when they can see progression. Yeah,
I think so. I think especially because they come on board to do the master classes with our cohorts towards the end of the programme. It's quite inspiring to see because they can relate and talk about what they did on their masters, that it's a journey in itself, but then once they progress and go on, it is wonderful to see. It's exciting.
Definitely. See where you could end up. It's always motivation when you're studying.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I would always say that.
So I think if there's here we've got a wee question here. So Amy, how does the university help students build a connection with employers before graduation?
That's an excellent question. Thank you so much for that. So we do quite a few things. So the first thing I would say is our ties with the CIPD. You as a student member of the CIPD, as well as a student with GCU, will have access to a really wide network of employers during your time at GCU. So you can utilise them, you can get in touch with them, you can come to some of our events that we do. And all of that is networking. All of it is networking. And I actually have to say as well, from my experience at GCU, I was very lucky that when I did my project placement, which I'll talk about in a second, that was my first employer. I got a job from doing that. And that is because I put myself forward for these things and said, I'm up for it. And I was very lucky to get that opportunity. So the CIPD is one thing. Another aspect would be the project placement, and that's something that you can apply to as you go through your project, your program. It comes towards the end of the project and the end of the program overall, but it's actually a really great way to work directly with an organisation about your master's dissertation. And then we also have our industry advisory group that come to talk on our programme and to the wider business school as well. So they might actually do some webinars or some online live sessions or even master classes within particular modules. So every single module, there will be a tie or a connection to some level of employers. So really from the get-go, you're already set up to have discussions with these employers. And we have our dedicated career service within GCU as well, which you should definitely be utilising from the minute you join. And whenever you join, hopefully, whenever you join with us, we have the career service come along to every induction that we host, so you can get to know them from the start. So hopefully that answers that one.
Definitely. Thank you, Amy. I think you can tell it is really built into the course, and it's really important to you when you're designing the course, but also for students. So hopefully that's coming across to everyone who's watching, that it's those links are really bedded in to benefit students and yourselves when you're teaching.
Of course, definitely. And it's something that we really try to kind of hone in on, because as I said, with the industry advisory group, they tell us the skills, the knowledge that our students need. So we're really dedicated on that, because at the end of the day, we understand a lot of the time that's why someone is coming on board to do a master's or further education, because they want to pursue a career or do something different, or so we understand the dedication it takes, so that's why we really try to embed that. But thank you for your question. That was great. A good question.
Now I'm just going to post a link for anyone who's joining us. We have more sessions on this week, and as Amy mentioned, there's if you become a student at GCU, we'd encourage you to take advantage of the career service, but there's also other ways, other extra curricular things that you can join through our Students' Association. So for instance, there is a talk from them tomorrow. There's also a session with our CAS team. So I've posted the link there. If you would like to look at any of the other sessions that are on this week, please have a look and sign up. And if you're watching the recording back, these will all be published on our website and on the GCU YouTube channel, so you can catch up on the various sessions we've had during this information week and find out a bit more about studying with us. And hopefully that'll help everyone. But I think if there's no more questions coming in, that probably brings us to the end of today's session. So I'd just like to thank Amy again for your time and your expertise taking us through all of that. And a big thank you to everyone who joined us today and for listening and for your questions there at the end. As I said, this will be published and available so you can watch back. And if you think of any questions afterwards, please do get in touch. We're always happy to help. But, thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care now.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.